Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from, and welcome back to another Bitcoin technical analysis. And with Bitcoin continuing to move higher, a lot of people are asking themselves, is this the time that we break $4,200 and see a higher high on the price action of Bitcoin? Today we're going to be discussing just that. So if you guys are interested, go and stick around for today's video, and do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. But that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into this. So not too much has changed on Bitcoin. We have seen a higher high in our local range over here, and I actually do have this layered out so we can kind of count the legs up over here. Now we're going to be doing this in two different ways, and this one's going to be the first one. But overall, we still are in this ascending broadening wedge formation, which is a bearish one. And even without looking at this with any kind of drawing, you can kind of see that this is starting to look like more of a rising wedge. Now both are bearish formation and continuation patterns. However, it doesn't really matter which one you label it too much, just to kind of know that where the support and resistance is. So if you want to kind of label these three most recent local tops, it would be more so of a rising wedge, and if you want to count all this collectively, it would be more of an ascending broadening channel. Again, doesn't matter that much, it's just really more to know where support and resistance is on a more smaller dialed in area as opposed to a larger, more broad area. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and label these three legs up, because for those of you guys who know, generally when we have legs up and moves down, they generally move in legs of three. So what we have over here is 1, 2, and 3, and this one's very easily to see on the 4 hour. Of course, you can have your one starting over here from the initial bottom, moving all the way up, and then kind of consolidating, making another move up, kind of consolidating, actually coming back down a little bit, and then we can kind of count this last move as the collective leg 3. And if that is the case, this is actually a pretty bearish thing for Bitcoin, signifying that we're probably going to be coming back down soon. And if we look at the other scenario, and I would say that this one definitely is the more bearish of scenarios, because of the fact that, you know, we do have our three legs, and we do have a Darth Maul candle up here as well. So that could very well mean that we actually set a lower high over here, looking all the way from this range now to this range, and then going to our most recent range. If we have three consecutive lower highs, it's not a good thing to really see, and we're going to be talking about that as we get more into the daily chart. But labeling this as our three most recent highs, what we can do is we actually can say this is our 1, this is our 2, and we're actually looking for a 3 over here. So this one, as we zoom in, is a little bit easier to see than the 1, 2, 3 that we were just talking about. This one being, of course, this is being our first leg up, consolidation, bull flag, which is something I talked about in Patreon, why I actually exited my short in this area, and then having our second leg over here pump. And now that we're seeing downwards consolidation again, if this is the first and the second leg, I would expect another third leg to come up somewhere over into this area as well, and then maybe test this 4,200 area, and maybe even actually set a higher low if we can't break it. I would expect a lower high, and then probably a pretty steep fall from there. But looking at this on the MACD, and looking at this on the MACD and the RSI, I want to look at the MACD first, because on the 4 hour, this is very clear bearish divergence in a way, in that we are setting lower highs, lower swing highs over here for the time being. However, despite all of this lower swing highs on our MACD, the price action is actually still pushing higher over here. So this is one of the things where you have to kind of look at in this being hidden divergence, because if we are seeing double bearish divergence on our MACD and the price action is still moving significantly higher than before, even though the MACD is continuing to go down, this is something where a lot of people get confused. And even if you would have shorted the top of the MACD, you'd be in a loss. And that really shouldn't be the case. The fact that we're forming bearish divergence on our MACD and on our RSI, but yet pushing higher, tells me that this could actually be a hidden bullish thing. And what this usually means is that if your MACD and everything's resetting and continuing to fall and painting double bearish divergence but still pushing higher, that is telling me that the bulls are actually very, very strong in this area. And though while it does look like they're actually kind of running out of gas for the most part, if it does move up, that would definitely make sense to say, you know, despite having bearish divergence, despite having your indicators very clearly being a bearish scenario, losing strength, for the price to continue to push upwards like this is a very bullish thing to see. That's basically saying that despite all the bears are doing, the bulls are just, you know, flat out stronger, and it is, you know, a unanimous thing. Now, it's not to say that the bears aren't fighting back, but for the time being, this is one of those scenarios where it's obviously a bullish scenario. For the most part, we bounced off support. I was talking about, I don't see why this price couldn't push any higher. It pushed higher. I was originally going to short this. Looked like it was getting rejected from resistance. Ended up painting a bull flag, exiting my short. And then with this thing pumping again, I am possibly looking for a third leg up, and then possibly to short this area if we do not break $4,200, and then probably see a steep downfall to one of our support lines over here. So moving over here to the RSI, this is another one that's a little bit of a unique situation because this is looking like potential lower highs over here, but your indicator on your RSI 4 hours is still pointing upwards. So even if we want to kind of count over here that, this might be our this might be our, our local highs getting consecutively lower and consistently lower, maybe what we can see actually over here is a break in this pattern if this does want to break the 4,200 range. But if this wants to respect this, maybe we do come back up over here, actually get another lower high, and then see this thing pretty, harshly fall towards the downside. Now on the daily chart, this is where things start looking definitely a whole lot worse for Bitcoin. As you can, if we can switch this back, as you can see over here, ignore all the extra stuff. You can see that this still is painting lower highs on your daily RSI, which is not something that you want to see. You want to see this thing break. However, again, this is another one of the scenarios where it's to say the bears don't look like they're too strong over here. And while this is pointing downwards, I can't help but be a little bit bullish about this area, just saying that the bears just look weak. Yes, we are over here. Yes, this is a lower high. But for the most part, when I look at this, this isn't something that you typically see on the RSI. So when I see something like this kind of playing out, it's kind of like a double top on your RSI, but even that's just not that significant. I don't know. Looking at this and with my history of looking at things like the RSI and the MACD, I can't help but notice that there is a little bit of weakness over here. Now, I think the most significant form of divergence out of everything that we're going to be talking about today is going to be this daily MACD chart. And this one is really showing us over here pretty clear quadruple bearish divergence on the MACD. Now, this is something I haven't seen in a long time. The last time I saw this was when we absolutely went off a cliff in November moving into December. You guys can see over here was a lot of the same exact situation over here. It was just consistent lower swing highs, one after another, after another, after another, until eventually this thing tanked, significantly. And most of you guys remember the drop from 6K to 3K. Now, I am a little bit nervous. While this doesn't look exactly like it, they do obviously look similar, showing that, this consistent lower swing high mentality is definitely being played out here for the most part, and that is what makes me a little bit nervous. Seeing that this is now 1, 2, 3, and looking like it's going to be 4 potential lower swing highs on our daily MACD is not a good sign. Not to say that this can't break, but the last time we did see this, we saw a $3,000 drop in the price action of Bitcoin, and that's certainly why I'm not longing this area as well. If I see an indicator like this, I'm not going to be long here. We're at resistance, and I can go ahead and pull this back up. We're at resistance. We're so close to the $4,200 range. We're so close to our previous high. You're in a bearish formation pattern, and you have bearish divergence all over your RSI and your MACD. With all of these things being said, especially counting your MACD, I don't want to be long here. It's all about area value and risk management and risk versus reward ratios, and this just would not be worth it in my opinion. Again, there's really nowhere to set a stop loss here. There's nowhere to keep a tight stop, and for the most part, I just find short or longing resistance, an approach that I don't like to take. Some people like it. I personally don't. But moving this back onto actually we can keep this on the daily and actually look at the overall ascending broadening, or the ascending triangle, excuse me, and see that this thing actually is getting very close to playing out over here. If we do have a third leg up, it is going to bring us towards the top of this, and as you guys know, this giant ascending broadening, or this giant ascending triangle is starting to get weak over here, and with this happening, you can't help but think that if we do see a retest of the 4,200 area, it could very possibly break. Now, personally, again, I have said that I think that we're actually going to have a lower high over here, and if we do form a lower high around this $4,200 area, I think that we are going to very steeply fall back towards support. Now, I think our first support is going to be the bottom of this ascending broadening ascending broadening wedge, and if this is going to break, then I think that we're going to be going back down towards the bottom of the ascending triangle. But if you guys are a part of a Patreon, I actually went through and did a Bitcoin update today on the Patreon, explaining where my targets were, where I expect us to go, and did a whole little write-up looking at the 1 day and the 4 hour indicators, oscillators, and candle charts. So that was able to get written up. So if you guys are on there, you guys do know my targets. Looking towards the upside, nothing has really changed. For the most part, we are just looking at this upper level of resistance, and above this, you know, there really is only one area that I have my eyes on. Yes, you do have a little bit of candle body tops over here around the $4,400 range. I don't see that as anything too significant. I think for the most part, 4,200 is the name of the game right now. That is what we need to beat if we do want to keep moving higher from over here. But for the most part, you know, Bitcoin has looked very healthy. It has looked very good. You know, despite the fact that this is looking kind of bearish in this range right now, and I am actually looking to short this area once it gets a little bit higher, potentially short this with, again, a very tight stop loss because it's going to be so close to resistance. I'm kind of just playing this by ear right now. I don't have any trades in. I really don't want to sleep on anything in this area. You know, if I want to sleep on a short, I'll be keeping a tight stop loss over here. But again, even this isn't the area of value on a short that I want to enter into right now. If I was going to enter into a short, it would be somewhere closer to resistance, or at least somewhere closer to probably 4180 or 4200, somewhere around that. So that is pretty much it for the video today. You know, we have talked about most of the stuff over here, and I think the next video that we're going to do is going to be an overall conceptual market look, something that is more of the macro trend, something that we do probably about once a month on the channel. So I think it's going to be pretty cool taking a look at the macro analysis and you know, the macro trend and seeing where we're going from there. So I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. With that being said, guys, I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. What's going to happen here? You know, we are at such a crucial point where just all eyes are back on Bitcoin. You know, some people are in disbelief. Some people are in this depression stage, and it's one of those things where, you know, all eyes are on Bitcoin. You know, can it set a higher high on this candle chart? So hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next video.